You probably think the Toyota Corolla was just a boring economy car, cheap, reliable, forgettable. The kind of car you buy when you've given up on caring. But that's not what it was. Because at one point, Toyota was staring at something very different. Rising costs, shrinking margins, a global market that could have crushed them before they ever became what they are today. And the Corolla wasn't just another model. It was the decision that quietly saved the company. But not for the reason you think. The Corolla didn't win because it was better. It won because Toyota made a very specific, almost uncomfortable decision. They chose controlled simplicity over peak engineering. Not the best engine, not the most advanced platform, not the fastest, the cheapest, or even the most innovative. Just the most repeatable, the most predictable. The easiest to build, maintain, and scale across an entire planet that was just starting to motorize. In the mid-1960s, Toyota was still fragile. Japan's auto industry was crowded, chaotic, and full of companies trying to out-engineer each other. Cars were getting more complex, more ambitious, more expensive to produce. And Toyota had already felt the consequences of pushing too far. Earlier models like the Crown struggled overseas. They weren't competitive in power or durability in markets like the United States. The company had to make a choice. Keep chasing engineering prestige or build something that could survive global reality. What they chose with the Corolla was a shift in philosophy. Instead of designing a car around what engineers wanted to prove, they designed it around what manufacturing could guarantee. The first-generation Corolla, launched in 1966, wasn't groundbreaking on paper. A small inline-4 engine, rear-wheel drive, lightweight construction. But underneath that simplicity was a very deliberate constraint. Every component was designed to be easy to produce, easy to assemble, and hard to break under normal use. Not exceptional in any one category, but extremely consistent in all of them. This is where most people misunderstand the Corolla. They think it succeeded because it was reliable, but reliability wasn't the starting point. It was the outcome of something deeper. Toyota engineered the car to reduce variability. Tighter tolerances where it mattered. Looser tolerances where it didn't. Materials chosen not for peak performance, but for predictable wear. This made the car incredibly forgiving. It could handle bad maintenance, rough roads, inconsistent fuel quality, and still keep going. Not because it was overbuilt, but because it was intelligently limited. At the same time, Toyota made a system-level decision that changed everything. They began refining what would later become known as the Toyota production system. Instead of building cars in large, inefficient batches, they focused on flow, just-in-time manufacturing, continuous improvement. Problems surfaced immediately instead of being hidden in inventory. The Corolla became the perfect product for this system. Its simplicity meant fewer variables. Fewer variables meant fewer defects. And fewer defects meant lower costs without sacrificing durability. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, this combination started to compound. While competitors were chasing horsepower and styling trends, Toyota was quietly optimizing something else: repeatability. The Corolla could be built in large numbers with consistent quality. It could be shipped globally. It could be serviced almost anywhere. And because it wasn't pushing the limits of its components, it rarely failed in catastrophic ways. It aged slowly, predictably, almost invisibly. Then came the oil crisis in 1973. And this is where the Corolla stopped being just a smart decision and became a lifeline. Suddenly, fuel efficiency wasn't a niche concern. It was everything. American cars were heavy, inefficient, and expensive to run. European cars were often smaller, but still complex and costly to maintain. The Corolla landed right in the gap: lightweight, fuel efficient, affordable, and already proven to survive real-world abuse. The mechanism here wasn't luck. It was alignment. Toyota had built a car that fit perfectly into a global shift they couldn't have fully predicted. Because they prioritized simplicity and consistency, they ended up with a product that thrived under constraint. Lower fuel consumption, lower repair costs, lower ownership risk. It wasn't exciting, but it was exactly what millions of people suddenly needed. If you're enjoying this kind of deep dive, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And I'm curious, have you ever owned a Corolla or known someone who has? Because chances are, you've seen this pattern play out in real life. As the Corolla evolved through the 1970s and 1980s, Toyota kept refining the formula. Engines like the 3A and later the 4A series weren't designed to dominate spec sheets. They were designed to last. Simple overhead cam layouts, conservative power outputs, cooling systems that prioritized stability over peak performance. These engines could run for hundreds of thousands of miles with basic maintenance. Not because they were indestructible, but because they were never pushed to the edge. At the same time, Toyota made another critical system-level move. They standardized platforms and components across models and markets. The Corolla became a global template. Parts could be shared. Manufacturing processes could be replicated. Knowledge could be transferred between factories. This reduced costs even further and made scaling almost frictionless. While other manufacturers struggled with complexity and fragmentation, Toyota was building a unified system. The common belief is that Toyota just got lucky with reliability, but insiders understand something different. Mechanics, engineers, and longtime enthusiasts know that the Corolla's strength comes from what it doesn't try to do. It doesn't chase extremes. It avoids unnecessary complexity. It leaves performance on the table in exchange for longevity. That restraint is the real engineering achievement. By the 1990s, the Corolla had become something else entirely. Not just a car, but a global standard. It was everywhere. Rental fleets, family driveways, taxi services, developing markets. It blended into the background of daily life. And that invisibility was its greatest strength. It meant the system was working, quietly, relentlessly, at a scale few other vehicles could match. But there was a consequence to this approach. As the Corolla became more refined, more standardized, it also became less distinctive. Enthusiasts started to look elsewhere. Other brands pushed performance, design, and innovation. The Corolla stayed the course. Safe, predictable, almost anonymous. And that led to a perception problem. People began to see it as boring, uninspired, a compromise. What they didn't see was the trade-off. Because every feature you add, every ounce of performance you chase, every layer of complexity you introduce increases the chance of failure. It adds heat, stress, variability. The Corolla avoided that trap by design. It accepted limitations so it could deliver something else. Longevity, consistency, trust. If you think about it like an engine, most manufacturers were trying to redline their designs. Toyota kept the Corolla at a steady, sustainable RPM. Not impressive in short bursts, but capable of running almost indefinitely. And that philosophy didn't just save Toyota in the short term. It defined the company's future. The lessons learned from the Corolla influenced everything. Camry, Helix, Land Cruiser, even modern hybrids. The idea that you can win, not by pushing harder, but by removing failure points, became a core part of Toyota's DNA. So when people talk about the Corolla today, they usually focus on the numbers. Best-selling car of all time. Tens of millions of units sold. Global presence in nearly every market. But those numbers are just the surface. The real story is underneath. It's about a company that chose discipline over ambition, simplicity over complexity, consistency over excitement, And in doing that, they didn't just build a successful car. They built a system that could survive anything. And that's why the Corolla didn't just succeed. It saved Toyota from becoming another name you forgot.